So howdy all, and welcome to this interlude video for Troubleshooter. I am the Black Shadow, and as always, these videos will not feature any story progression, so if you don't feel like watching these, you're only here for the story, feel free to skip this video, although I suggest if you're about 70 videos into the series, you might probably got the gist by now. But let's not worry about it. So, a lot has changed since the last time I did a video. It's been a couple of days on my own side. And I have indeed spent some time reworking a lot of our characters. It's been kind of nice and refreshing to do so. Let's not accuse the game of being stale or anything. But the game definitely does offer a huge degree of variety in how you want to build your characters and how you want them to work. And, you know, it feels nice to be able to kind of explore some of that. We've had some good reason to do so as well. Albus is a very, very good example as well. So plenty's changed. Have made some notes, which I'm going to have to attempt to remember what I've written so I can kind of best adequately explain everything. But you know this music means it's time to go into some builds. So here's how everything stands here. I'm going to talk about Letton a little bit. You see he's got a little bit of experience here. Obviously we'll go down the list. So we're going to start off with Albus, and you will notice an immediate difference. Albus is a Magic Knight. The Magic Knight class is one that we picked up at Albus, obviously fairly early on, but I've had him as a great swordsman for a long time. We've had all the good reason to have him as a great swordsman, because we've had swords that have definitely exploded, as you know, such as we do it. We've had the Saturn's Eliwote, giving us block for every swordsman ability, and the Breaking Sword of Peak as well. Both are exceptionally good for great swordsman builds. But we picked up this Pulse Blade from Uran, whatever his name was. It's a really, really good sword. It gives plus 500 ESP power, and it feels like I should really probably try and lean to it. And if there's any time I want to delve into a Magic Knight build, this sword is a fantastic example and a good chance to go ahead and do so. So that is what I've done. We have got a whole build now I have made from scratch for being a Magic Knight. And here it is. You will notice that it is not quite as vast as some of the old stuff here. There's only a few sets of working and rolling, but that's fine. There's less defense slots in this one. There's a lot of basic and a fair bit of attack, but definitely the Greatsword has a lot of defense and a lot less basic stuff. So but I've kind of built this from scratch, and there are a few things I want to get hold of here. We're just missing a few points and the chance to do that. So, well, let's talk about the build. Let's go through our skills first of all. Of course, being a Magic Knight means that typically your attack in ESP, like your ESP is probably still normally below your attack power, but the thing is the Pulse Blade gives so much magic that we actually have better ESP power than attack power, and that is also further complemented by our abilities, which have also changed a bit. We have no longer got the Wind Veil. I have taken off. We've had this for a long time, and it's been really, really good for us. Great for the Swordmaster, but I've actually taken off and changed its bits and pieces. The Fresh Breeze attack, which we start off with, has been brought back. This is the area of effect attack, which is done by magic, and it's kind of nice. It's not the most accurate in the world. It is a little bit expensive to use, but it's not too bad here. The Tornado Slash we're keeping, and I've also put on Magic Amplification for the first time. So you've got two things. You've got Magic Acceleration, which is like the ability we use for like Scion, for example. Let me go into him just to quickly explain what that is. So if I go down here to wherever it is. It's here somewhere. Magic Acceleration, here we are then. So Magic Acceleration basically doubles your Vigor consumed to do an extra 30% damage, which is pretty damn good. But the idea of Magic Amplification is that it costs 5 to cast initially, and then costs 10 Vigor at every turn, but gives you 10 ESP power for every level. So for Balbus, that's basically giving him an extra, currently, 440 ESP, which is bringing him to about 1400 ESP power, which is very strong. That is exceptionally strong, actually. You think, like, Scion is standardly at 1500. You think, say, like, Anne is running at about 1000. So, technically speaking, Albus is now a stronger magic caster than Anne, which is pretty insane, really. And it's something I probably need to help Anne a little bit with that, but we haven't quite got around to it yet. But it's fine. Anne has loads of side abilities, which means she doesn't need a big ESP power. Because when she heals, she's in range of her other abilities, which lets her heal 50% more. So she doesn't need huge power. But that's the idea then. Anyways, the other thing you'll notice as well, actually going back to the stats, is you'll notice this has changed a lot here. His block chance, remember at one point it was like 50, 60, 70%. This is now down to just 12.5. I've removed all of this. Again, Albus is kind of, he's more of a supporty magic caster sort of role now. His speed's not amazing either. Possibly it is helping a little bit here, but alas. But yeah, his dodge chance isn't too bad, but his block is base, so yeah, that's a thing. But there is a lot of cool stuff going on with Albus's build specifically. Let's go through the various things here. So we haven't really touched the Magic Knight abilities throughout the series, so if you want to remind of what they do, this is what they do. So let's start off with the simpler stuff. So we've got Invisible Sword, which basically gives you better chances to hit and gives you better chances to dodge. Which is nice, if you engage in battle with target for the first time, specifically. We have, I'll get to that in a second, actually. We've got the Blood Absorbing Sword. So if we deal damage that is more than 2/3 of a target's HP, we actually recover some health, which is pretty nice. And if they are bleeding or we put them out of action, we recover double that. So he can actually gain a lot of health back, which means he can kind of self-suffice himself, which is pretty good. But obviously, he's got to be able to hit really hard in order to get advantage of that. We have the Holy Sword. Nice and simple. You just take 20% less damage. And if it's from a criminal, you take 30% less damage. That's really, really strong. Then we start getting into the more interesting stuff. So we have the Cursed Sword. So, attacking a target with a melee attack has a 50% chance to trigger a random debuff. Now, this is good because it can let you do some really interesting stuff. However, it does put a curse on Albus specifically, the Curse of the Sword, which I think we've seen on a couple of enemies before. And basically what that does is, so like, it gives him power as he takes enemies out. It gives him better buffs, like better attack power, better speed. But taking out enemies costs him more and more vigor to do so. It's not really at a point where, like, unless it's a crazy long mission, something bizarre happens, it's not going to, like, really heavily impact Albus. But it is worth noting that that does exist. And the last thing to note is Avalon. This is the end of the Magic Knight class for Albus. So this is pretty cool. It's 3 training points, reduces vigor needed for abilities by 50%, and gives you +5 vigor recovery. Basically, offsetting that. Really, really strong. There's some other bits and pieces going here as well you might not quite recognize. We've got Charisma on Albus, which is good. A couple of people with Charisma now. Just giving you nice passive buffs to everyone around him is pretty solid. I've actually got Mage on Albus as well. Giving him extra ESP power for his vigor. The maximum vigor is not bad. What's it like? 130, which isn't terrible. It's 130 power. He's also got acceleration as well currently. That's because I don't really have a lot else to put on the ability thing. What I really would like is to get hold of more stuff for support. The thing is, I've only got 3 things on support because the 3 things I've got on them are very, very expensive. I need them for sets. So that's kind of largely what's going on there. There's still some bits and pieces carried over from prior. Carry all before for Stallments and chance to win. But he doesn't have much of that. Retaliation to improve our counter-attack. He still has all of that. He has Forestallment, all that sort of good stuff. But the 2 sets he's got here, we have the Justice Victory Blade. So, if you take criminals out of action, you remove a debuff that if he has one on him. We restore Vigor for 10. We restore SP for 10. We do extra damage to criminals, and our action time decreases by 10 every time a criminal attacks us. So it's a very, very strong set, this. Just basically making him much more versatile, and yeah, against, like, just criminals, really, really good. I would probably wager that Magic Knight is probably better to have against, like, the normal enemies in the game. If you're going against beasts, I might well put Albus back onto the Great Swordsman build, specifically for beast heavy missions, because I don't think it really suits that. That's worth noting. And then we have the Infinity Sword. So here we are. So the Curse of the Sword, here it is. So unfortunately, yeah, we have the Curse of the Sword here, unfortunately. So yeah, when we put enemies out of action, we lose a vigor for each enemy we have put out, but our speed and various powers and defenses stack up. It's never going to get to a point where you need to worry about it, but it is worth noting it's a thing. So you can see here, so Invisible Sword, we now get increased by 1 per enemy put out. So Infinity Sword gives this to us, but also gives us bits and pieces. So we can attack a target, we'll inflict debuffs on them if they survive. Curse of the Sword, state will increases by 1 when we fully restore our health, which is worth noting. And we start off with 1 initially because of the Holy Sword ability. So this is, like, good and bad. And again, if you've got enough vigor and you've got enough ways to recover the vigor, you should probably have it on Albus. Like, it's worth having the extra speed and attack power and defenses. Unless it's got to, like, 15 or 20 stacks, then you've got a problem. The game shouldn't normally get to that state, but it's a thing worth noting. Other things as well, I would like to get on. Undefeated would be nice. This is the one that gives you time back for taking enemies out, which is good. We know this stuff from our swordsman days. But we also have this one here, the Blessing of Avalon, which requires, I think, Magic Shield, which I don't have, and I don't know what exactly that is. Yeah, so this would give us Release Magic when we activate Magic Shield, which will give us extra recovery, and that stacks up. But Avalon as well would have an extra. So this is the one that gives us Vigor Recovery and stuff. So if you suffer a fatal damage that would take you out of action, you can spend all your remaining Vigor to ignore it. That is very significant. Obviously, that comes under the whole... I assume that comes under the whole revival ability thing, or you can only do that once. But yeah, that's insane, right? If you just suffer fatal damage, you can just spend all of your Vigor to ignore it. That's pretty awesome. So, it's an interesting build for Albus. It's definitely a little more complicated than the previous one, and there are some things I would like to get hold of. Abilities-wise, which I'll talk about a bit later on. Like, I don't want Strict Refusal on. I'm trying to get my characters off of this stuff, because I'd much rather get them the abilities that just give them extra slots to various bits and pieces, but I've only got so many of those at the moment, and that is a bit of an issue. But other than that, some cool stuff going on, and I think Albus will be alright. The only thing I would note for Albus, before we move on, is that I am also attempting with this build to make use of Wind Masteries a bit more. We do have one, which is Extreme Wind here, which gives us +2 overcharge duration, so Albus has an overcharge duration of 4. Which is pretty awesome. That's one issue with Albus. Like, with a lot of time we get it on him, and he just loses it without really use for it. He gets it really quick with, like, Roar Victory. So he gets his overcharge pretty quick, and he's maintained it for a while. And obviously, his crit stuff is giving him extra critical damage. So that's the idea. He's still, like, very heavily reliant on doing crits to do a lot of his damage. And there's nothing wrong with that sort of build. But it is little tweaked. There are other Wind Masteries that would be really cool for him. There's a lot of decent ones, a lot of just basic stuff, like Headwind. Is really strong. We've seen that before used against us. That can be really good against ranged dudes, creating slowdown, stunning enemies, pushing them further. Wind Road is like running, but a wind variant of it. There's a lot of cool stuff here. We just need more slots, basically. But we'll get there in time. Alright then, next up then, let's do Scion. Scion has had a small rework, but nothing too significant. Basically, the idea between Scion is to make him a bit more sturdy and also make him faster, because his speed has been a problem. He's up to 81 now. This is courtesy due to a little bit of rework on his board. I don't remember the exact changes that have come through, but you'll notice there is a few less commons. And we have made a couple of changes here. He's still got a load of mastery sets, but he's got all of them now. Like, all of his core mastery sets are gone. This is all just class stuff now. So there's some nice stuff going on here. Generally the idea is just basic to make more use of his black magic stuff and just make him go heavier down that field. So he's got like you can see here like magic library for defense, magic book for damage. Scion hits really hard, by the way. I did a mission of him on testing, and he was regularly hitting people for like 5-figure damage. Not necessary, but it was happening. It was pretty cool. Giving impulse fields to Scion as well. We've had a couple of times where Scion has just been crit and just annihilated, which is a real blow. So impulse fields has been brought on to try and mitigate that situation. We also have nerve stimulus, however, as well, which is using electric pulse. So electric pulse is cool. This is one that gives you SP gain for faster. But none of this has got some really cool stuff here. So we gain even, so lightning SP gained utilized rate increases even more. So now 50%, giving it 100 health, 10 speed, and 100 ESP power. So it's not too bad. Pretty simple. Body training, willpower, extreme speed, and electric pulse. It's not a bad little thing. I've also been throwing a lot of large pockets on everyone. Just giving an extra use of potions. It can't be a bad thing. What else did we change from him? He does have less health, it should be noted. Scion is down to about 1800 health, which I think is less than what he was working with. But again, the idea is to use impulse fields and distortion field to basically try and mitigate that, along with a bit of magic library. If he does get crit and just like ambushed and destroyed, impulse fields should keep him in the game for a little while. But that's the plan. The other thing is I have done as well with Scion is we haven't had an issue previously with enemies that are like really heavy blockers. The Spoonist comes to mind. So I have made Scion as a bit of a build to try to deal with that situation with a couple of things. First of all, magic book specifically. So he just deals lots of damage. 5% ESP attack ability for every currently applied Elementalist and Black Mage Mastery, of which there are A few. What I've also put on him is Breakthrough, which I've never used before. So when upon attacking a target, their block halves. So if they're running at like 100, 110% something, that then becomes 55. They're still going to block a bit, but it means I can more reliably use SARM to target people that just have like crazy block on them. Obviously, it doesn't work against everything. Fun and resistance overrides everything. There's nothing I can do about that. But if people have got like 110% block, at least with SARM it's like 55, and I can semi-reliably think that I'm going to hit him pretty hard. And when SARM does hit, he does crit a fair amount, so that's pretty nice. But yeah, so a little bit of a rewit for SARM, but nothing too drastic for him. Irene is next. Irene has, understandably, not really changed, because she doesn't really need to change. Irene's awesome. She has been amazing. Her build as it is very, very powerful and dangerous. There's just not really many changes to him, especially as far as mastery-wise. I have made no changes whatsoever, because there's just no need. Again, I would like to try and get a couple extra slots on her at some point, but I need to build up some training points to do that. I have got supporter on her. She is our highest level character at level 45, so I'm going to use her as the ability to just try and give some experience to other folk, kind of bring them, especially got some people around like 41, 42, so just to give them a bit of boost would be good. The one thing I have changed for Irene, and I've had to get used to it, is I've actually changed her abilities. I've taken off the somersault. It's weird not having the somersault, so I've taken off somersault and I've put on snatch. And snatch is kind of like a diving attack, whereas obviously the firewall cartridge, she has to run up and then do the 2 hits. This is basically a range of like 5 or 6, and she literally charges at the enemy next to them and then does the snatch attack. It's pretty cool. The nice thing as well is that it can activate Severe Bruise. So this is kind of being used more against tankier enemies. Severe Bruise is obviously pretty bad. 10% damage, also decreasing their speed and their protections. It's pretty good. So if against enemies that, again, are blocking heavily, I can snatch them to do that. Firewheel might burn them, but burning at this point is really irrelevant. So that's the idea, is to use it there. It's weird not having somersault. It does mean technically Irene does not have a ranged attack. Occasionally she'd give some cover assistance with the somersault, but I now no longer have that. So that's a thing. And I'll get used to it. It should be fine. But other than that, no change for Irene. She's doing great. Next up is Anne Macy. So as mentioned, we've been running it as a witch for a while, but as I said at the end of the chapter, I would be returning her back to white magery. We hadn't changed her abilities for a while, being a white mage. Her mastery board had been kind of sitting there for a while. I have given her the Starlight Explosion. You do get an extra ability here. I was tempted to put on like the Prayer, which gives the Starlight Shield, which is nice, and also the Prison. But I'm running with Starlight Explosion for the time being, just to give some kind of attack potential for Anne. The one thing I do miss of being a witch is that there is some attack potential for Anne, and that can be pretty nice. And a Constricting Root can be really useful in a pinch against like heavy melee enemies. You can do some cool stuff with that. So you're only allowed 1 of the SPs, however. So Starlight Arrows has gone for Starfall, but Starfall got used significantly more anyway, so it's not a big deal. As far as our mastery board is concerned, there's a lot of white mage, but there's also a fair amount of priest stuff. You might see stuff like devotion here. And she's a real hodgepodge of all sorts of bits and pieces. But there's a lot of good stuff going on here, which is nice. So we'll quickly run through some of these. Yeah, so some you might recognize. Marauder of the white magic, like the Holy Shield gets ready to fall, just 10% less damage, which is really good. That's now combined with like Child of Light here, so it's 6 tiles. It also gives liveliness as well. So that's also giving like hero abilities plus 50%, which is why I don't need to worry about having Anne with a particularly high mage score, because liveliness just basically overrides that and basically gives a plus 50% anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But there's a lot of cool stuff here. Recovery support, you might recognize this. We've seen this on a few enemies. It's not your turn. An ally drops to below 2/3. You can heal them with a target ability. It's really nice. It does take some time, however. But that is combined up with Devoting Love, which means that I can now do it a few times. Recovery support. If you fail to recover the target's HP to fully recover, she gets plus 10 time, but that basically should never happen because she's really strong at it, but it's fine. But there's some more stuff going as well. So we've got Miracle. So Miracle's kind of cool. Upon using heal or support ability, there's a 30% chance that she heals to double the health recovery, and a 30% chance for support that gives you any vigor. It's alright, it's fine. There's also as well, Devotion is reducing the cooldown of abilities by 1, which is kind of why I've got the Starlight Explosion, because it does have a little bit of a cooldown, that's just being overridden. And then the Light of Redemption is here as well, reducing Vigor recasting anyways. I don't think this is particularly useful for Anne's build, but I've got it for the time being. Apostle, however, is very, very fun. So Apostle runs off some bits and pieces we had. We had Gospel back on the old White Mage build, which basically means when you heal someone, it gives them even Faith or Bravery. Well, that's improved with Apostle. Instead of being Faith, it's Discipline, which is from 100 to 300, and Strength to Bravery is the same thing. Also, I can Recovery Support twice, which is really, really awesome. Apostles are a really nice set. Got as well here, Prayer for healing, Devotion we've seen, Recovery Support as well. Other bits and pieces still here as well. Healing Wave to get time reductions down. Shaman for bits and pieces. A Balance ability I've also gotten as well, which will remove mental debuffs and confusions for healings. And that combines up with, I think it's Saint. It is Saint here. So there's a lot of stuff going on. She's got a lot of sets here. Basically, Anne can heal anyone basically at any time, as long as they're near them. They should be fine. Miracle Shield as well. Support activation of Miracle, which happens basically all the time. Allies within the range of the Holy Shield's effect, which of course is expanded to 6 tiles, gain 10 Vigor and Regeneration. She's a healing machine. Also got March on her as well, which is just for Anne specifically. If she runs, basically, she gets Patience for 50% block and extra 100 health as well. It's a nice little something or another. So yeah, she's really strong. There's a few things I could also put on, like Flagellant here. So she takes damage, gives her SP and stuff. Celestial Shield. I should probably put on at some point, which will reduce damage by 20% instead of 10. Really, really strong that, but I do need to find a place to put Penance on, which is a defense, and yeah, I would need to do something about that. I need some slots, kids. I need some slots. But we're getting there. I don't know what gives me defense extra, actually. Let's go to human quickly. Just look at this on screen while we're here. So there's a few of them. So basic would give that, but I'd have to drop one of these, and they're all parts of sets. So you see where this is going here, and I kind of basically need everything to support everything else. And it gets a bit difficult. So I could drop, like, Prosperity. What supports are there? Max and train points isn't what I need. That's experience. Supporters that. That's that. You see, this is all just experience. This isn't giving me buffs to any of my other sections. They all exist elsewhere, and there's nothing for ability for that either, so... Yeah, you can't have everything. We do know that Celestial Shield is very, very strong, and I would like to put that in. You know, and Penance obviously also gives me Flagellant too, so maybe I should look to put Penance on. But I need, like, something buffing my defense, which means I'd have to drop something else. I could drop Soul Healer, I guess. I've got that on currently to restore people's vigor. Actually, I tell you what, let's actually experiment with this here. Let's go to Soul Healer. Being able to heal people's vigor is really good, though. Don't get me wrong. So if we go to Attack and Human, what have you got here? Principle is for support slots. Persuasion is for basic. I think I'd have to go Persuasion for basic and then use the basic to improve my defense, I think. Which, I mean, I could do. It's a bit clumsy. What the hell? Let's do this on screen. We're here. We're having a journey. We're listening to some... I've misclicked. I do that all the time. We're having some, you know, some fun and some excitement and relaxing music. And everyone's happy, you know? Let's be happy together. Like I said, there's no plot progression here. And if you've watched 6 of these at this point, you'll probably watch a 7th. So that gives me the basic slot. So now what I could do with the basic is Retreat, which gives me the defense. At this point, I can then take off Guilty Conscience because I don't need the +1 on everyone, so that can now come off. And then we would need to put on it's a Priest. There's Penance, but I'd need an extra point for that, which I currently don't have. I could drop Prosperity for it, I suppose. Maybe I should drop Prosperity for it. Prosperity is kind of nice. I guess we can do this. Actually, I'm okay with this, actually, because... Oh, no, I can't, because I need an extra defense point. I'll have to drop Abundance. What set's Abundance part of? All for life. Just give me the original life stuff. Oh, but that's the one that gives the regular recovery and action time reduced to everyone that's around you. I don't really want to drop that. I guess I do need to keep the support on then. I guess. I guess I do need Guilt with Conscience on. Huh. That's not too bad, though. So it means as we get hold of more training points for Anne, they can just go... I can get penance here. I can throw anything I want onto support. And ability-wise, I can also throw on some loads of stuff here later on. But there's nothing too urgent to do right now. So that's probably the way going forward for Anne. It's a little bit clumsy. It's not the best looking in the world, and probably could do with another rework at some point. But this should be sufficient for now. So I'm fairly happy with it. Alright then, next up is Hiding with some more different music. I do like this track. This is a nice one. This is the music. I think this first played when we were looking to find Irene on the rooftops. Really, really cool. Anyways, so Haijing has also had some changes as well. I have taken him off a ranger, and he is now back to being a sweeper class. This is the one that is more specifically for like taking people on. The ranger's like kind of a bit more kind of carry, catch-all, support and ignoring. It's more beast heavy. This one is definitely designed more for taking on actual people. So that's kind of nice. Plenty has changed. Ability-wise, he does drop a general ability, so I have had to put down put distance, which is his suppression ability, but to be honest, I don't really use it that much. It's also not particularly powerful. 50 plus 75% attack power is not a lot compared to like the other things which hit a lot harder. I'm having an issue with Hiding, though. He's not hitting as hard as I would like, and that is a concern. And I'm trying to find ways to improve his attack power. It's pretty good. He's having a little bit. His hit chance as well is also seem to be struggling a little bit as well. It's like 98%, but it's a thing. Also, being a sweeper, it means that his HP is mad as well. He's up to about 3,000 health with all sorts of abilities here. Let's go into his mastery board. So yeah, masses of HP, masses of armor as well. You see 1,300 armor here, which is huge. Really, really strong here. And this is his set here. So his sweeper class is always a lot more based around common classes and less specifically gun classes. He's got a couple like I Am Legend, which lets him recover time back from doing bits and pieces. He can also, attacking enemies doesn't take out, destroys their weapon, so it makes them hit less hard, which is good. A couple of things as well we've got here as well. This is my gun for just extra piercing damage. He's also got upgraded armor-piercing bullets. Not quite as strong as the Machine Hunter stuff, but it's still not too bad. It's a bit more general speaking. So there's a lot of cool stuff here. But yeah, so what he's got like Excitement. So whenever he covers an action point, which he can do if he takes out the last enemy that he can see, he gets Excitement, which is good. Also, a surprise we've seen on a few enemies, if they run into you, you get a responsive attack, which is kind of nice. Weapon disabling, yeah, is destroying weapons. Gun remodeling reduces cooldowns, which of course is very important. Heising, keeping him going. So there's a lot of good stuff. Again, he's very much based around specifically like common masteries. So yeah, auto immunity for debuffs; they don't last too long. Combat training, fire resistance. He's getting like 800. He's getting like 1,000 health just from mastery sets. It's insane. Yeah, Hiding when he's in this board is just a big tank. And the idea is to basically get him going in, being aggressive, taking a lot of the heat, and rocking around. And I don't have like tactical training on or survival training for even more of that. It's pretty insane. We do have this one I'm interested in here. High velocity armor piercing bullets, which are allowed to do more damage from distance, or attack with armor within 8 tiles, so stuff that's closer. And also, for every mastery that reinforces the abilities of piercing shooting, attack payout scales more. So this would be really good for him, but I need firearm interchangeability, and I have no earthly idea how to get hold of that. I suppose I'll find out one day. But yeah, it's not been too bad for Heising. He's struggling a little bit for some bits and pieces. He is missing a couple of things as well. He has Chainfire off again. I just don't have a ton of slots, and that's what I'm going to do here. Like, I've got support slots here. But yeah, a lot of the stuff you see, all of these things here are all parts of mastery sets. It's really hard to mess around with a lot of this, which is what it is. But regardless, I think still be pretty decent playing as a tank class, which should make him pretty hardy. Which is why I've got the big healing potion on him again. Ray Alley. So I have been unbelievably impressed with how well Ray has done since turning it into an alchemist. It has been frightening, the level of carnage she's able to wrought across the battlefield. As such, there is no change. I haven't changed her at all. She is absolutely awesome, and I'm perfectly happy how she is. There is a couple of issues. Her health is not the best, which I've noted, and that's just part of being in this class. Like, she just doesn't have a lot of health, so you've got to be careful of that. I do have impulse fields on her, however, so that is helping to deal with that situation. The only thing I would say as well is that there are some interesting sets for her to get hold of, but I need a bit of time to start working on those. So she's got a lot of cool stuff here. Break through the earth, less cover effect, SP gain, honest researcher, so it's giving extra bonuses. Oh, she's got lots of concoction stuff. Passion for gold is just absolutely awesome and ridiculous and a lot of fun. And yeah, when you get Ray, just like working on like 7 buffs on her, it's pretty fun. But there's a lot of cool sets I would like to get a hold of her. There's some interesting things we've got here, like Argonauts would be good for overcharging. So if she takes damage and health pulls the third, she just overcharges on the spot, which could be cool. More SP, more overcharge duration, more chance of luck. Of course, remember she has got luck, and occasionally she does proc that. It's pretty good. Positioning would be nice and not too bad, but one thing I'm really interested in is this Escape Death. I don't know what I need to get hold of this. I really do want to. Cheating Death, the chances of that increases, which I assume means if something would take her out of the game and knock her out, that she would recover. And Ray is, unfortunately, because I do use her very aggressively, she is prone to just getting overwhelmed and swarmed and destroyed. Which is why I've got impulse fields to try to help with that. But, you know, Ray is a real glass cannon. So something like this could be very strong at dealing with that. But we got to find the mastery first, so that is a thing. The only other thing I would say for Ray specifically is I would love to have more basic slots. Because Argonaut, for example, where's one of the, these are defense stuffs. There's a lot of basic stuff that she could just make use out of. Like, she doesn't have body training, so she's missing out on like 400 odd health. She's not getting like competence or like alacrity, best conditioning. There's loads of stuff that she could use on the basic slots, but it's all taken. So that is an issue here. So the only what I need to do basically is I want to get things that improve and give more basic slots. The problem is there's very few that do that. You've got Persuasion, which gives it... Yeah, this is already +1 basic slot, by the way, which is kind of crazy here. The problem is that this is the only thing I've got that improves basic slots. It turns out... So if I go to flexibility here, but I tell you how to make this, for example... if it lets me go to mastery research, I have to do it this way, damn it. Flexibility, defense. This is going to come... I'm going to talk about this because this is something... So flexibility is really good, giving support slots from defense. The problem is I can't make it. And I can't make it because I don't have open mind. And open mind is defense to basic, which I really want. There's like 3 or 4 characters that would make awesome use out of this. But I haven't found it. And I don't know where to get it from. Until I get open mind, there's not a lot I can really do, folks. It's a bit of an issue here. And this would be great for Ray, be great for some other characters we're going to talk about. Basic slots are just super useful, getting those stats in. A lot of people have got sets that involve basic stuff as well. Break through the light, for example, which I would also like. Extra throwing damage, ignoring dodge chance. I need extreme speed. I can't put it on. I've got everything here. I can't drop Alchemist Bag. Practice Hand is giving me... My Practice Hand isn't the best ability going. It's giving me Passion for Gold, which is just so good. I can't drop that. Great Scholar is playing its part in Earnest Researcher, which is giving me Concoction. It's giving me extra benefits as well. I just can't drop it. And Concentration, 10% hit chance is part of sets. Running is parts of like 2 sets. So it's really difficult to justify dropping those. And the other thing as well is that I'm also maxed out on just stats here. And this is the thing. If she was a Grenadier, it'd be a different story. But because she's an Alchemist, it's very heavy support, attack and stuff. And again, this has already got +1 slot on it. This was at 7. And that really hurts. So, you know. So hopefully in time I'll be able to do that and get some improvements there. But we're not quite there yet. Give us time. Alright, next up on the list is going to be Giselle. Giselle has seen no change, because Giselle was doing pretty well, actually. I've been fairly happy with her. Obviously, it's a bit risky. I do play her pretty dangerously. I shouldn't be so aggressive. I should be trying to keep her back. But she's got, like, Charisma on her, which is proving to be quite useful for supporting. And she's got a lot of cool stuff as well. Obviously, tons of attack slots. She will be getting another attack slot on a couple of levels, which would be good. And she gets another ability slot at level 50 as well, which I also do like. The stuff I want here, shadow sniping would be really awesome. These are the ones, if I take, put your target from a distance, can create confusion. It can slow enemies down. I can then also improve that as well. Recover action points by doing that would be really, really strong for her. I just got to wait to get level 46, and then I'll put shadow sniping on. That'll be strong for her. So that's good, looking good. And ability-wise as well, she's got some good stuff to come here as well that I could put on. Chain Fire she's already got here. That's not what I meant to press. You know, like Piercing Shot would be nice. Recharging could be useful. I might find some extra ability stuff for her later on down the line. There's a lot of potential for Giselle. She's done really good so far, and I'm looking forward to more from her. But it is also the same situation for Giselle, is that I would love to get more basic slots. And it's so easy to get basic slot here, improve basic, give me a slot with 3 points, and there's a lot of good stuff I could put on her as well. She doesn't have body training currently, which is not a part of any mastery set, admittedly. I'm really hard pressed to take that off Giselle, though. She's got decent health, and obviously she does have like her bracelet, which is giving her like 500 health here, but I find it really hard pressed to take that off of Giselle. I might choose to do so. But that's like 450 health I'm taking off of her, which is pretty significant. What else would I put on her specific at this point? Basic wise, she's already got Charisma. Best Condition could be nice for getting extra action time. That could be kind of nice for her. But I don't know what else I'd really put on her, to be honest. Wanderer, maybe? Could be good for her. Superiority could be decent. Other than that, maybe Glutton, just to give her extra food bonuses for a long time. That seems kind of funny for Giselle, though. Extreme Speed's also just a decent shot. But I don't want to take body training off. I think this is really good for her, and it's really hard to turn down. I'm already using one of these slots to improve attacking anyway, so what I need to get is an open mind, buff basic, put something good on, wait for this slot and this slot to unlock, put the things on there, and Giselle is pretty much good for the rest of the game once she gets shadow sniping on. And that's, being honest, I think Giselle is legitimately pretty much set for the rest of the game. Which is good, means I don't have to worry about her that much. So next up is Kylie. So Kylie is, she has been an engineer, and I've been having an engineer doing some off-screen stuff, but she's going to be an engineer no longer. Kylie is going back to the hacker class, which, it turns out, I never actually finished, which I thought I had done, but yeah, I completely missed it, and it makes sense, because there are a couple of these things that I am missing, which is, it's my bad, kids. So she will be going to hacker class, and I do have a hacker board set up specifically. A lot of folks do have 2 boards now. I did spend some time putting up an alternate board, because I might change back and forwards them from time to time, perhaps. See how things go. So yeah, Riley is now a hacker. The idea of the hacker class is to make her stuff stronger, but admittedly does give less benefits to the robots that she is helping to summon in. She also has a little bit less on the protocols, I think, as well. I think marginally less protocols, but I could be slightly wrong about that. My memory's a little bit off. Anyways, so let's go see what's going on here. So yeah, because she's not done, there's a couple of things that I do want to get hold of her, but overall she's looking pretty decent here. Combat training on Iron Man for some health. Mighty Strike is really good for her. What we're doing for Kylie is basically giving her the ability to just wipe people out with her continuous attack ability, combined with her attack protocols, because it bypasses impulse field because it's counted as separate attacks. So it's a way of getting around enemies that are like that. It's just really, really stubborn. She's got a couple of other things going on as well here. I'm running over the hacker abilities because I don't really remember them too well. So we've got Data Structure, gives a +4 Vigor for every Scholar and Hacker Mastery, of which she's got a fair few. Abstraction gives an extra hit chance for each mastery. Let's go for the rest of these first. What do we got? Oh yeah, let's do it this way. Parallel Process. So when she attacks, the dodge chance of her opponent decreased by 1% per available protocol uses. So at the start of the game, really strong. And when she's attacked, she also has extra block. But it goes down in power as the game goes on. But really, really good there. That's a lot of percentage for those protocol uses. So you want to get as many of those as possible, which I tried to do. A delay process is just good. Damage taken decreased by 3% per available protocols, which is, again, really awesome. Distributed process, damage dealt increases per available protocols. So yeah, as long as if you want to be just jamming for as many protocols as you can, get most out of those. Algorithm, cast delay decreases by 5% per applied mastery. This is really good for her. Her attack protocols, a lot of her protocols are pretty expensive on the delay. So this is a nice way of getting around that. And we got code optimization, reducing the action point required using abilities by 1. That's really good. It's really, really good. First, her ability mastery is concerned. She's got a couple here. So multi-processing. If you use a protocol ability at least 2 times during your turn, your action time decreases by 2 per available protocols remaining. So basically, the idea is to get her like just bombing out commands from a central location. And program is good. Putting a target out of action increases SP by 1 per applied scholar and hacker class. And this is the thing I want to do. It's really hard for Kylie to get. I've been really struggling with Kylie to getting her doing overcharging a lot. And so this is an attempt to try and address that. Now, what I want to do with Kylie is take off learning, preferably. Why have you got learning on? Why do you not have, like, something else give you more experience? I have no earthly idea. What are you, level 41? Yeah. Why the hell have you got learning? Take that off. Oh, you've got learning on because of you were maxed on training points. That's why. Okay, I need to get her with more stuff, but yeah, I just realized she doesn't have that. I could put honesty on, but she doesn't need any more bits there. So that explains it. Right. Okay. I'm so confused. Like, what the heck's going on? Kylie is also another person that could do with more basic slots. I would happily take off Distortion Field to get more basic stuff going on, but I currently don't. She's got plenty of points. It's just the stuff I've got on it just isn't that expensive. I've got Great Scholar on her, which is just really strong. That's giving extra health. It's giving like extra 64 health. It's giving me extra 10 vigor. Great Scholar is just a really nice supporting thing here as well. Veterans on as well for stun immunity, that sort of thing. But yeah, so my processing programmer on there, which is pretty good. Also, because it's hard for her to get overcharged. The other thing I want to get hold of is refactoring. So this uses data structure, algorithm, code optimization, and something we don't have. And I assume this is one of the abilities I'm yet to unlock as Kylie, because again, she's not maxed out yet. Refactoring. So this reduces cooldown abilities by 1, which would be good because her abilities does have a bit of a lengthy delay, and also reduces vigor cost, which is also good because Kylie can run out of vigor sometimes. Information specialist, I also would like to get hold of her as well. This is veteran, parallel, and delay, and something else. Information confusion. So this will expand to radius around her. So this decreases the threat of to machines, and also gives it extra dodge chance, which is kind of nice. Engaging in battle within the range. Engaging in battle with the range of information confusion applied. Additional increases parallel processes and delays process effects by 25%. So this is giving her extra dodge chance and block chance and damage taken. Basically, a very defensive type of buff, and this is also giving this buff to people around her as well, which is pretty cool. So that's nice. There's something else I was going to say for Kylie as well. What was it? Oh, right. It was actually the things I was going to get hold of her. So the abilities I think she actually needs, if I go to change class specifically. There's 2 remaining. There is this one here. Divide and Conquer Algorithm. So basically, this just buffs all other commands. It's a bit similar to Irene. She has a mastery as well. I forget which one it is exactly that we have on her. Which one is it? Let me go to this. This is important. Here we go. Million years of training. That's the first one. So this, as you can see here, gives extra benefits to all of the abilities here, which is really, really awesome. It's basically, this is her version of that. So it gives just benefits to all the protocol stuff that she does. There we go. Got there in the end. Hope that didn't cause any fun and games. Sorry about that. Change ability. Nope. Change class. Here we are. So divide and conquer. So you can see here. So chance of debuffs increases. Support protocols give them peace. When she moves, she gets acceleration. Better hacking. Scouted enemies, I don't use search protocol. Confusion protocol now grants fake information to the decoy hologram. So the decoy hologram's already pretty cool, but fake information, so the target that actually takes out the hologram has a penalty of 60 time units when it does. That's pretty nice. That's a nice little bonus there. So I think this is going to be a part of one of them. It's Kylie's own ability, and it is an ability thing here. So this is going to be pretty expensive. And we've also got Information Confusion, which is the hacker. Oh, so this is the other one here. Which gives Information Confusion to all allies within a radius of 4. Giving them extra dodge chance, and also making them less of a threat to machine enemies. Do you have enough spots on agility to put that on? You definitely do. I just need the points. And that could be a little while, but I might have to make some adjustments to bits and pieces. I might take off, like, Veteran for that, to be honest. We'll see how we go. She's got to get there, but that'd be really strong for her. But yeah, so Kylie, I think, is going to be pretty decent. And yeah, she's going to be used as kind of an impulse field sort of destroyer. And that combined with the attack thing, whatever else, is going to be good. She can steal some machines, of course. But and the machines actually have gone through some work as well. And they're looking pretty good, some of those. Last up, we have Letten Alley. So, Letten Alley has a lot going on. And admittedly, at this point, I don't know everything that's going on with Letten, so I'll explain what I can here. So he's coming down this martial artist route. It's kind of a weird sort of hybrid of things. Like, his attack power is okay, but it's not really being particularly improved. His ESP power is also being improved a bit as well, which I guess is alright, but he's not the biggest hitter in the world. But Letten's kind of like a weird hybrid. His bangle he starts with, by the way, is actually pretty good. I was trying to make a bangle to replace this with, because it's a little bit low, like level 30. But plus 50% hit chance, crit hit chance, 75% attack damage, and 10% ice attack damage is really good. And I can't really justify getting rid of that. Same as his hoodie as well. Like, this is only level 20 officially, but 10% block, 20% dodge, 10 speed, 1 move distance, 10 vigor. I can't really complain about this. It's pretty good stuff here. I've given him some extra equipment on the side as well to give him. He's got a lot of block, actually, does Letten, which is really, really good. And that's kind of thing here as well. So he's kind of doing a variety of things. There's a lot of things I've also learned about how Letten Alley works. It kind of starts with his mastery board. So, Letten Alley, actually, interesting enough, has 2 fixed masteries in the game, which is obviously relating to his own personal condition. His anti-freezing fluid and freezing blood. So the way it works, and I have now worked out how this works. So Letten Alley typically starts with 30 levels, effectively, of anti-freezing fluid, which inhibits frozen blood. And what happens is every time that we would normally restrain frozen blood, basically, yeah, so whenever Letten uses an ice ability, any ice ability, frozen blood would be triggered. And freezing fluid negates that. But you can only do that 30 times. Once you get to 30 times, his blood literally just starts freezing. And, you know, that's pretty bad. Once he gets up to level 10, he just goes out of action. He cannot be used anymore. Now, that's 30 uses of his ice abilities. That's not 30 turns. That's a significant difference and should be definitely noted. There are a few ways to improve that. He does have his own personal mastery. High-end anti-freezing fluid, which gets it plus 60. And also you can remove debuffs on, which is also not bad, actually. You can also just give him items which help that. You can make anti-freezing fluid, which will give him plus 20 fluid on top of self, which is nice, I guess. But I don't think it's really necessary because it turns out that he's got a mastery set, which will help. And that is it's here. The freezing resistance side effect. So this is anti-freezing, which is fixed. Best condition, inner peace, and something else. Enough rest, which I don't know what that is. I think I've seen it somewhere. But basically, it gives him plus 60. It gives him 60 anyways. And also, whenever he consumes the fluid, he recovers some health and some vigor as well, which is awesome. So this is a massive thing for him, definitely. He also has a set involving his freezing blood, crazily enough. So his freezing blood, frozen touch, life draining, and something else, frozen breath, which would allow him to start disabling people's armor, which is pretty cool. However, he does extra damage But yeah, you can see here. So where he can life drain. The problem with this is anytime he activates life drain, yeah, activating life drain removes a frozen blood, and damage increases per frozen blood that he has. So this is just good. But again, if you this is an absolute must. You gotta get this on Len. This is so strong for him. Really, really good. He's got a few sets on him anyways. Ice Soldier here, which is basically the ice kind of general stuff here. Mortal Silence for counterattacks. We've seen this before. Revenge is on. So he's a good counterattacker, is Leon. Kind of a bit like Jane, I guess. And if you have freezing side effects, I mean, you are rocking and rolling. Snowstorm as well, just to slow other people down and do a bit of debuffing. So he's kind of a funky build. A couple of things he's got on him as well. Wrestling, which is interesting, which gives him just extra hit and dodge chance. He has his own set of abilities as well. If I go to his class, his martial arts abilities are different to Irene. So he's got hard energy, 30% attack power per martial art ability, internal power, ESP abilities instead. 1-inch punch, so if you just attack without moving, you do double damage. It's pretty awesome. Listening energy, attacking a responsive attack brings about less dodge and ignores the enemy's block by 20%. It's pretty good. And he's got his own abilities though. Endless training, which is his own improvement to his own things. So he's like, he can use his back tumbling and a couple other things without costing action point, which is awesome. Back tumbling is basically his ability to move through a bit of the map, ignoring terrain. Do it with no action point, really strong. Twister is like his better stuff here. There's a lot of cool stuff there. It also turns like his specials to where the enemy can't block it. There's a lot of cool stuff here. We'll be definitely getting that onto Len as soon as possible. And he does have the space for it, but I will need to mess around with him. Now, I do also want to try and get 1 or 2 of those on Irene at some point, but I don't need to really work Irene right now. She's pretty good as she is. I don't need to worry about it. Now, there is one other thing that I should talk about, though I will admit at this moment I don't actually really know that much about, and that involves superstars. So, the superstar class, I've tried to work out what exactly this is. My best bet is this is designed to be like a buff/debuffing class, basically. Uses a completely different set of abilities, of which we don't really have a lot of them. And you can see here, so he has like, he can just buff himself basically. Putting targets out of action, giving a chance to win to people around, which is pretty neat. There's a lot of cool stuff here. But yeah, so it gives performance slots. Now, there was an ability, if you remember, if I go back to Letton's individual mastery, God-given talent, which gives him extra performance slots and a performance effect level by 1. And this is referring to specifically his superstar thing. Now, I believe we've seen a couple of superstars before, or effectively superstars before. So if we go into our beastery, basically, we've seen a couple. Do you guys remember Oliver all the way back in the, whatchamacallit? The Starlight Junction and that whole hell. Oliver Blackdog, he's the one. So he is a dancer, not a superstar, but dancer I think is basically the one below it, effectively. It's the same idea. So the idea is it gives you various dances, and as you do them, he gradually gets more and more strong. So it kind of snowballs as he goes. We've actually seen a superstar, I think, as well. And I think that was Sparkling Jack. Twinkle Jack. Yeah. Oh, no. So he was a martial arts. I think we've seen one. Who was it? It was... here we are. Che-Che. You've not seen Che-Che. Che-Che featured in one of the side missions I was doing off screen. But Che-Che is a superstar here. There is a... did with Water Mastery. Was mainly just using that, basically, a lot of the time. Yeah, Pugo Main Street here, and we'll be seeing them in a future thing here. But they are also a superstar. You can see, basically, superstar is just the advance on dancer, effectively. But yeah, that's my assumption. There is a ton of text with this class, and it looks very complicated. And you can see here, so like basically you kind of do dances, and then you have a finale effect, which is basically your overcharge. And depending on how much stuff you've done, you can power up that to do a lot of things for benefit. So you can see with more coolness, you can start giving SP to your allies, decreasing SP of those around you. surprise those around you. You can get chance to win the around you, and at 5 coolness, you can give luck to everyone around you, which is insane. Luck is so strong in this game, really huge. But yeah, so it gives you these various abilities, and basically, as you can see here, I think the idea is if you look at I can't move my mouse. If you look at continuous, for example, in this list, I don't know how to explain this because again, I haven't done this. We'll see it when we see it. So I think how Superstars works is we have we have various performance slots. We start off with 4 and or 2 or whatever else, and we can actually get more of them. And what you do is you piece together a set of little bits of moves. So the acrobatic moves, the surprising, entertaining, fancy. And depending on how many you put those together, you can get bonus effects. They all do their own thing anyway. So you can see surprise. So if all the effects are the same, you can surprise those around you. If the 2 effects alternate twice, you get benefits. If it's continuous or one of each, you recover an action point, stuff like that. It looks very funky and very complicated. Now, I'm going to be honest, from having a little bit of a look around this game and trying to get a piece of it, I don't know if the effort's going to be worth it. I legitimately think Letton is just going to be better off as a martial artist. And I really honestly believe that. But what I will do is once we've gotten Letton to level 16, I will put together a superstar board. I think I already started putting together a superstar board for him. I was about to. Mastery board. I've got one to start putting together for him. And we will give it a spin and see what we make of it. But I get the impression that he's going to be very fragile. And I don't think the benefits he's going to give is going to be worth it. I think Letton's just going to be better as he is. To be fair, he's pretty cool. He's like a support sort of melee class anyways. Like, for example, if I go to his abilities. His body blow is actually really cool. His body blow suppresses and pushes back. So what Letton is really good at is basically attacking people who are by something, hitting them into something and stunning them and keeping them in place. He's not the biggest hitter in the world, but his speed's not bad, his blocking's really good, and he's very good at just kind of like disabling his opposition, which is what I'm looking to use him for. So I think it'll be pretty decent. I bet he's got a lot of stuff here. Twister is pretty cool. His Ice Spear and Ice Arrow are nice. He's got a couple of things as well. The double wheel kick. Which I might have put on for the Ice Spear. Ice Spear I actually don't particularly like. You'll notice that the cast delay on some of these is pretty significant, and that is a problem. He's also got the Frost Crescent Kiss. He's got a lot of abilities here. Yeah, let's take this off, and let's put on... I guess I'm going to give these a spin. I've not really seen what these are like so far. Let's give him the double wheel kick. I'm going to give these a spin here. Twister's not bad, actually. Twister's really good. We used Twister on... we used Twister on Sharky, if memory serves me correctly. That whole Sharky bit, by the way, blows my mind. But, yeah. So, we'll get him finished with Martial Artist, and then we'll get Letton down the Superstar route. I think we good. Alright, then. Is there anything else I want to do? I don't think so. We've gone through Letton. He's a mix of, yeah, a bit of magic, a bit of melee. He's kind of a weird sort of hybrid class, but he's not too bad. Well, I have remodded some of the machines as well that Kylie's using. I've had to pay for blueprints. It's been very expensive. But some of these are getting pretty decent here as well. Nothing too much to report. They're just improved, basically. The scout drone has a rifle on it now. I just ditched the web for it. It was just pretty crap. But basically, you just take it. These are improved. I could go into detail how they're improved. Like the incineration drone has like crazy overdrive stuff going on. Look at all this reinforcement stuff here. Absolutely insane. And we are finding some sets here. So overcharge boosting gives them additional boosters. SP gain. SP overcharge, SP overcharge, lots of good stuff here, lots more stuff to go. So some of these are looking pretty nice. It's just expensive, and they just need levels to get some of these slots here. But the incineration drone is probably my best machine out of the lot. The funnily enough, I didn't expect to say this, my transporter drone is probably my second best machine as well. Transporter drone is really awesome, just because it's got so much health. This is really, really pretty decent. There's still some space to improve a bit here. And it realistically has kind of too many module stuff, which I could probably do with taking off some of these things here. I probably don't need all of them. Why have I got some of this stuff on? I have no idea. Well, I don't need that. Right, I legitimately don't have any blueprints. That's why I stopped. I'm broke, kids. I don't have any more, so that explains it. Okay. But yeah, so there's some good stuff to be done here, and I'm looking forward to them. Unfortunately, stuff like the high-speed drone has taken some punishment, and it is kind of suffering a little bit, but it should be alright. Other than that, though, I think that does cover everything in this interlude. It was a pretty lengthy one, but we've had a lot of changes, and a lot of work has gone on the side, which I'm pretty happy with, you know? We're on Sweeper Masteries, by the way. If I haven't told you, we are on this to get hold of more items. We've picked up some interesting equipment as well that's been found to us and given to us, bits and pieces, so I'm not happy about that. I'm not too unhappy. We're doing pretty well. So yeah, that's basically it for this. So, what we're doing next time is we will be going to the Blue Fog Distribution Center. Jane is going to be coming along for the journey. I'm pretty convinced we have not done this mission. So we're going to be doing this one next before we return to the Crow's Ruin to see what is coming up from this. It's been an interesting trip in the Crow's Ruin, and I'm curious to see what else is going to come here. But this will be our next destination. We've got a quest to complete. Jane's be coming along with some backup here. This looks like this could be an absolute war. We've got some defenders coming as well. I've missed them. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one.